And hi, everybody. Welcome to Stratosphere Lounge. I'm your host, Bill Whittle, with yet another edition of the worst produced show on the internet, brought to you by the friendly folks at Ustream, the friendly folks at Ustream. I hope everybody's been doing well. We're back. I'm just going to do it one more time here to let everybody know to hit the refresh button. Because we have to shut down one browser, open the other browser, and all the rest, and so on and so on and so forth. But in any event, here we are. It's good to be back. We were not here last Wednesday, for reasons that are beyond my understanding. Man, this is a little intimidating, I got to tell you. I got 3 different images of me, all slightly out of sync. Much the way I go through life with 3 different things going on at the same time, and they're all slightly out of sync. So there we go. Anyway, it's good to be back. I don't know if there's been a whole lot of stuff. I've been chewing up. I've just the only person who really understands this that's watching right now is Natasha, and the only other people get at least a glimmer of it are raucous fighter pilot Viper Check and known miscreant Matt Lloyd. But I've been just working my little tail off in addition to the regular work. I realized I'm going to have to build this whole game thing atom by atom. So that means everything. Tearing down textures. I got to tell you, I just really love it. It's very therapeutic. Last night, just before I went to bed, I had a 3D model of a helmet that I'm going to use for this first sort of CG video, and then I decided I wanted to detach some parts and make them shiny. So I got back into 3D Studio, and I found myself there turning on and off individual polygons on a mesh with, I don't know, 50,000, who am I kidding? 400,000 or 500,000 vertices. And it's like click, click, click. And I actually was really kind of fun. I had a good time doing it. And the thing is really starting to reach really excellent quality. So that's pretty much that. For those of you who've been up on the Facebook page, Natasha and I went out and hung out at the staircase a couple days ago. And we did that little recording there about them basically putting in a satellite-linked, parking fee thing out at 40,000 Pacific Coast Highway. It's the actual address. And it's been seen by like 30,000 people, and that's strange how that works sometimes. I guess there's other people out there who really understand just how relentless these bastards are. You keep asking yourself where it's going to end. It's never going to end. It's never going to end until we put some heads on pikes on freeway overpasses to encourage the others. That's pretty much what it's going to take to stop these guys from taxing every single thing that we've ever made, produced, or whatever in the whole world. But I digress. Now, what's interesting about that was I mentioned that the staircase was just my favorite place and so beautiful out there. And then the reason we went was to take a look at some photo locations for Natasha. And I had a couple places marked on the way back. And we stopped at the next one. And it was so much better than the staircase. And I'd been here for 30 years, and I'd never even stopped at this place because I didn't think you could possibly beat the first one. But, man, we just were out there for hours, and she loved it, and I loved it, and it was great. That's right, Dave Big Booty. You maniacs! You blew it up! What does he call them? You maniacs, you blew it up. God damn you! God damn you to hell. You blew it up. Yeah, you get your acting dollar out of Charlton Heston. and William Shatner. I suspect if you paid $10 to see a play that Charlton Heston and William Shatner were both acting in, that you would probably get about $140 worth of acting for your $10 ticket, and that's a thing. Just go back to what I was talking about just for 1 second. And I'm not really bragging or showing off here because there's nothing I'd rather have than been able to raise some money to get some help on this. But I've got this little movie written, and it's probably 4 or 5 different locations. So I have to create the actors and adjust the faces and get them as photorealistic as I can. And then I have to put them into appropriate naval costumes. I've looked at hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of things for the kind of helmets and armor that they used, and I've tried probably 8 or 10 of them. Finally found a couple that I liked that worked for the story. I had to get those things textured and in place, and to get all these other things like belts and pistols and the straps had to go around the thigh. I have to get all those things fit and adjusted. That's just to get the first character out of the box. Now, the good news is you only have to do that aspect of it once. If you ever need that same character in his Navy flight suit, then you're just open the file. So that aspect is nice. But here's what's left to go. I have to now send this off to a Ukrainian who's going to translate these models into 3D Studio format and Unreal Engine format. And then I have to do a second character in the same uniform, which is relatively straightforward since I have all the pieces now. And then I have to texture the spaceship model, which is a big deal because I want these things to look better than the game does. So that means photorealistic textures wherever I can, which means I have to take this existing mesh of this spaceship, break off little pieces, sometimes 1 polygon at a time, find a texture that I like, glue it on there, glue them back together, put them in, so that starts working. I have to prepare damage on the other ship. And I have to have some kind of effects for sparking and plasma leaking. I have to figure out how to get all that stuff done. Inside the cockpit, I have to have displays of not only the navigation displays, and they've got to look right. Navigation displays can't just be a bunch of there's so many of these After Effects templates that I've looked at. And they're just like science fiction template, and it's just nothing but a box with numbers counting down, E4, 9, 7, and then just 16, 22, just numbers, and lines of dialogue. And I just look at this and I think to myself, what kind of an insane cocktail party is this? I mean, it looks like information, but there's no information here. And David Booty will be coming up before Big Bad Problems. Yes, and the reason I'm on this, and the reason for those of you, because I talk about it every other week or so if I can help it, but the reason I'm doing these things is because they are the halfway house to doing feature films. This is how you get from where I am to where I want to be with things like Big Bad Problems and all the rest of it. So I have to not only create the interior cockpit and add detail to that, but I have to also put animated displays on all of the screens to make me happy. And to make me happy takes a lot because I don't want just running stuff. I want it to look like real screens. I want the air traffic control screens to do that. So then I have to build the air traffic control center. I can probably buy a couple of rooms and buy some consoles, move those around, but I got to staff those with 7 or 8 different characters, and they all have to look different, and they have to be in some kind of outfits. There's going to be a big hologram in the middle of the air traffic control room, and those little things have to move the way I would expect them to move, like on an actual radar screen, not just these, red arrows just kind of gliding in. It's got to have the little transponder thing and a little 4-digit code for the individual vehicle, and every scan it's got to move, and all that stuff thinking about. I have to recreate the space station one way or another. That's going to be challenging. I'll probably take that out of game, to be honest with you. And then I have to have this one guy's ship hit this thing and explode, and that is a big deal. I'll probably do that with a visual overlay of an actual explosion. You can buy these effects packs for After Effects, which is another piece of software that I know well. Simon Says, good to see you. You've done excellent work, my man. Thank you. Unlike those other 2 layabouts and degenerates. So what I can do is I can basically have this flash go into the station, and then you get an actual footage of a gasoline explosion and particles and all this other stuff that's shot against a green screen. And you buy these things clear so that you can put explosions on anything. I could very easily just take the video that I'm recording now for the Stratosphere Lounge and just put a giant explosion on the back wall there, and without too much trouble at all, just put a series of bullet holes right below Dave Bowman over there. You know, ting, 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 particles would come out and little bits of smoke would come up. You just glue them on. And that's the first scene. And then I have to build a locker room, and I have to build a second character, and then I have to figure out how to do the body and the facial mo capture for that, get the lip sync right, bring in Alfonso Rachel to do that character, bring in somebody else to do the first character, somebody else to do the air traffic controller character. That's the second scene. I need a third scene where I need this guy's living quarters. That's another set I have to build. He's got a cat, so I have to have a computer-generated cat in there, and the cat has to look pretty good and go meow. And then I've got an exterior street scene with these two guys walking along the street, and I have to fill it filled with colorful Blade Runner type people, you know, strange looking futuristic ladies of the night and weird guys with strange hair and all the rest of it. And conversation there. Then I have to do the outside of the nightclub with all of the talking androids and all the rest of it. Then the hallway, and then the inside with the lasers and the dancers and the dead bodies and all of that stuff. And that's all I have to do in order to get this thing finished. So I'm feeling good about it. I think we'll probably have it by next Thursday. It's overwhelming, but we have to have it by October. There's a big convention in October, and I expect to have it before then. And I hope to be able to raise some money to hire some people to help with it. But in any event, that's what I've been working on, and I'd love to tell you it's work, but I just love it so. And you can, if you're watching this show live, you can now in the comment section put tender words of condolences to my long-suffering wife who sees me in there for 10 hours in a row without moving. Blood is turning into syrup, I think. Anyway, so that's that. I got to tell you, I had a serious neck pain for a long, long time, which is this amazing chiropractor. Somehow forgot to reschedule him, and now I am hurting. I'm a hurting boy, so I think we'll probably keep it even a little briefer than usual tonight. But I wanted to be here, so now we return ourselves to the Facebook page and we find out what the hell people want to hear about and talk about. So here we go. Internet leaps into life. I believe I'm going to do a firewall on the Trump trifecta thing. That's one of the segments that Steve did, and I think that's worth some deeper insight because he's basically pulled it off. Korea, Jerusalem, and Iran. Impressive.